And welcome back to Sports the NEMO Way, the Detroit Lions edition. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Do I really want to sit through an episode of Detroit Lions? But think about it this way. They have more Hall of Famers than the Bengals, and you sat through that episode. So, and we are back to regular scheduled programming. We have a guest today. A long time ago, we had special guest Bob with us. And Bob is back to talk about some Detroit Lions football.
Yes, sir. Good to be back.
And we're not talking about Tom Brady, so I'm happy, and we can...
Me too.
He's moved on to Mac Jones now.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get on to the Detroit Lions. Drew, who's your number 4?
Matthew Stafford.
All right. Matthew Stafford is also my number 4.
Matthew Stafford is my number 3.
Okay.
I love Matthew Stafford, but he's not on my list.
Matthew Stafford is also my number 4.
Okay.
All right, well.
So we got 4 of us?
We got some stuff about old Matthew here.
Okay.
He's at 50,000 yards.
49,995.
He's
exactly.
one pass to Cooper Kupp, and he'll be there.
That's right.
Out of his 166 games that he played in Detroit, 11 games he had a 100-yard rusher.
That's pretty bad.
The Lions have led the league in drops since 2009. So basically, while he's been there, and 9 seasons he's passed for more than 4,000 yards, and that 1 year he had 5,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's one of a few quarterbacks ever to pass for 5,000.
He's played through injuries in Detroit when they're not going to make the playoffs. I mean,
He was actually comeback player of the year one year because of the injury thing.
Yeah.
because he has that famous drive, I think it's against the Browns. His shoulder is like shot or something.
Didn't he play with like a broken vertebrae in his back?
I believe
Like
he did.
some sort of crazy thing to his back.
I mean, I think this year with the Rams proved how good he is.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of up and down. Lots of people would tell you, "Oh, I mean, he's really good. He plays for the Lions." Then other people would be like, "No, he's not. He's a loser." We've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
But him playing on a team with talent around him, I think proved this year how good he was. He threw for, 4,800 yards and like 40 touchdowns and won the Super Bowl in his first year with a good team.
4,800 yards with an 8-yard average, 41 TDs with 17 picks.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think he proved that he's a great quarterback. I mean, his lack of accolades is because he played in Detroit.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, I mean, would anybody disagree with me if I said in your lifetime the Lions were the worst franchise in football?
If they're not, they're easily top 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have to agree.
I mean, even the Browns have made deep playoff runs in my lifetime.
Yeah.
The Lions don't.
yeah.
They haven't even come close in a while.
Yeah, I mean, and Stafford was there for 10 years?
And he played 3 playoff games.
Yeah.
Lost all 3.
And he had Megatron for a lot of that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, one of the greatest receivers ever. So, I mean, like, that's...
And, yeah. The Lions were so bad, Megatron literally just quit.
Yeah.
Just retired.
So did Perry.
I know.
Yeah.
So I thought Stafford was a good, solid number 4 pick. Not just because of how good he was, just because, I mean, obviously he's a very popular player in today's NFL. Lots of people know him, know who he is. There might be some other players that accomplish some more, but popularity-wise, Matthew Stafford, I think, wins. He's the current player.
Definitely popular with me.
Well, you saw him this year when, even though he made the Super Bowl with the Rams, they made Detroit Rams shirts for him.
Yeah. And now he's on commercials. He's doing funny phone commercials. And
That's what LA does for you.
Yeah, so, I mean.
By the way, you realize Matthew Stafford's only made 1 Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really?
I mean, and look at some of his seasons are crazy impressive. I mean, he
plays for the
It
Lions.
just goes to show how little we care about guys that don't win, even when it's not their fault. Like, we're like, well, I mean, we always talk about it like, oh, good stats, bad team guy. Well, he had to throw all the time because they were losing all the time. And like Wade said, the first time he's on a good team, he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah. There are people that will legitimately argue with you and tell you up until last year that Jimmy Garoppolo was better than Matthew Stafford because he won games. But if you actually watch them play, one is 4 times better than the other if you just have eyeballs. But people will be like, no, Jimmy G's a winner. Dude wins games.
Who are these Looney Tunes that are saying that?
Well, watch ESPN. There's a lot of them on
Well,
there.
they were all calling
Oh
him
my
losers
God.
before this year with the Rams.
Teddy Bruschi did a whole big spiel at the beginning of the football season about how Stafford was a loser, and if you replaced Stafford, like if you switched Stafford and Brady would have found a way to win in Detroit. I'm like, nobody finds a way to win in Detroit.
Because you have a bottom of the barrel defense, offensive line, and running game, and coaches.
Yeah,
You can't overcome that. Even with a great receiver, you have to have an offensive line protect you in order to throw the ball to them. You have to have. You just can't do it.
Now, there's a lot of hate in this room for Tom Brady, but we can all establish that he's done great things with those Patriots teams. But let's be honest, this wasn't Tom Brady out there pulling a Dan Marino and just chucking the ball all over the field and winning games by himself.
Even just any great quarterback has a ton of help.
Yeah.
Any great quarterback that's won Super Bowls was pretty much on a loaded team, because it takes a loaded team to win a Super Bowl. Look at Bradshaw. Montana's teams were loaded. Aikman's teams were loaded. Peyton had teams were loaded. Brady's teams were loaded. Elway's teams were loaded. On both sides of the ball.
And that's
too.
what it takes in football to win championships. Your team's got to be somewhat loaded.
And it took Matthew Stafford 1 year on a really good team to win, which is obviously not the Lions, unfortunately, who we're talking about. But
Right.
If he won a Super Bowl with the Lions.
If he won a
he'd be
Super Bowl with the
god.
Lions, he'd be number one on our list, and it wouldn't even be close.
Yeah.
He'd be a god in Detroit.
Yeah, he would.
Oh yeah.
He'd probably get the key to the city.
Probably.
Yeah. He'd get the key to the city. He'd have the mayor's wife. He'd have anything he wanted.
Probably run for governor of Michigan.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, the Pistons suck. You want to play for them too?
All right. Well, we've talked about Stafford a while. Uncle Doug, you have a 4 left, correct?
Yep.
Who's your number 4?
Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Calvin Johnson is my number 2.
He's also my number 2.
My number 3.
He's my number 3.
He's my number 2.
All right.
So Calvin Johnson made every
We all
list.
agree on Calvin.
Calvin's
All right.
on.
We better agree on one more.
I think we will. Yeah.
I guess. Go ahead.
What can you say about Megatron? He 11,000 yards, 700 receptions, 83 TDs, had a season of almost 2,000 yards receiving. 6 Pro Bowls, 4-time All-Pro. I would like to have seen what he would have done had he stuck around a little bit longer. But,
Probably could still be playing today, maybe.
Probably.
But I understand. He was
Tired.
tired of getting beat up.
For nothing.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
There's-
Like, lots of guys talk about being tired of getting beat up, but I get tired of getting beat up when we won 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point after a while?
Yeah.
Didn't they literally go 0-16 with him there once?
Yeah. I think he was
Well,
there.
they went 0-16, and I'm trying to remember if he was there or not.
I think Calvin was there, but Stafford wasn't. And that's how they got Stafford, isn't it?
Stafford
Yeah,
was the number 1
he was
overall
the
pick.
number-
But
yeah.
I don't
Right,
know.
he was.
Which
Which
would have been-
Stafford hurt that season.
Maybe that could have been. Been.
Well, what year did they do it? I don't know.
Stafford was he drafted in what, 09?
I'm not
I
100%
don't
sure.
remember.
Stafford was his first year was 09, yes, and Calvin was there for 2 years before him.
I thought he was there during their 0-16 season. I could be wrong, but I thought it was like one of his
2008.
So he would've been
that would have been the reason they had the pick for Stafford. Then, yeah.
There you
So
go.
he was on the 0-16 Lions team. Yes.
So imagine Calvin Johnson had no weakness. He was a phenomenal deep threat. Unlike some guys that were just deep threats, he went over the middle all the time. He did short possessions. He did everything.
The year they went 0-16, he led the NFL in touchdowns.
My
That's
question: Who was
insane.
throwing the ball
Yeah, who
to
was
him?
his quarterback?
Probably Dan Orlovsky. Probably.
Oh, yeah.
See that guy that ran out of the back of the end zone?
Yes, that is him. Let's see. Who's their quarterbacks? I gotta get this pulled up. Yes. They had multiple quarterbacks play that season, but
They were trying to win a game.
Dan Orlovsky played majority of the snaps at quarterback. Yes,
Wow.
and he was obviously and whatever.
Who else got some action?
John Kitna,
Oh, yeah, I
Dante
forgot about
Culpepper,
Culpepper?
Drew Stanton, and Drew Henson.
So I gave everybody a try.
Culpepper went over 5.
Culpepper must have been.
Yeah,
older.
Drew Henson threw 2 passes, so it wasn't like he was in
Okay.
there and Drew Stanton threw 17 passes. So I'm assuming those are injury replacements probably in a
Didn't
game.
Culpepper get
Waterboy.
drafted in the late 90s?
Well, Culpepper had his best season in '98, I believe, because it was the same time as McNabb. So
I thought
yeah.
98
10 years later, he's
was the Cunningham year for the Vikings.
Dante Culpepper. Oh, 99, sorry.
No.
So 99 was his first year, and 2000 was his big year. Sorry.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I was mixed
It's
up.
not
on
that big a deal, just a year or two, but I want to say, so by the time he's with Detroit, he's fat, crappy Culpepper.
He's 31.
Okay.
John Kitna's 36, and he played 4 games. But here's Dan Orlowski's stat line. He had a 56% completion percentage. He threw for 1,600 yards and 8 touchdowns and 8 picks.
1,600 yards in how many games?
10.
Okay.
That's 160 yards a game.
Yeah.
All right.
But Megatron had 1,300 yards.
Who did he throw the ball to?
what's their team receiving yards?
So his 1,600 yards.
And Megatron had
1,300.
So you know the defense is probably had like 4 guys just bracketing Calvin, two other guys. Just
No
kinda
other guy.
bottoming him
No
up.
other guy on the team had more than 300 yards receiving.
Sweet Jesus. And he still did all that. Like, that's insane.
And led the NFL in touchdowns.
Yeah, he was amazing.
No other guy on the team had more than 1 touchdown.
Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
Who's their running back?
Kevin Smith. Who actually wasn't bad for a few
I remember
years.
him a little bit.
Yeah,
he was
like
on King of Queens, right?
Not quite.
Well, I mean, Kevin Smith had over 900 rushing yards and 8 TDs that year. So it wasn't
That's
like
solid.
he was. Yeah. And only 12 games. So. All right, well, I guess we can quit talking about the 08 Lions. That was the Browns. I guess Wade's right, though. Calvin Johnson had no weakness. He'd go across the middle. He'd go deep. He'd do the short pass. You could even throw him a screen, and he'd make guys miss. He's 6'5", 240. And that touchdown that they didn't let him have, was the
Yeah.
Green Bay? Was it Green Bay they were playing that week?
I thought it was the Bears.
Was it the Bears?
Probably
Where he
Bears.
sets the ball down and they call it incomplete?
After he already caught it,
Yeah.
and fell down and was
Yeah.
standing up and then dropped it.
Yeah. And they're like, nope, incomplete, didn't complete the catch.
Because like that and the Des Bryant plays weren't that far apart.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
So everyone
it was
threw-
back when we couldn't figure out what a fucking catch was.
Yeah. But I think,
Yes.
like, if Calvin actually plays until he's actually declining and just isn't the same player anymore, and he plays for even just a decent franchise, his stats would be insane.
He played for 9 seasons, guys. 9 seasons.
And has over 11,000 yards.
11,000 yards and 83 touchdowns.
Jerry Rice played for like 21 seasons or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane.
His last season in the NFL, he had 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns.
So he was doing just fine.
So I could see him retiring like maybe this year if he went somewhere else.
Yeah, and then that would make him have a 16-year career if he played through this last season.
I could have seen him.
Yeah, that's insane. Then, of course, that 1 year, like that Uncle Doug brought up, was he broke the record, right, for yards in a season?
Yeah.
He has the record. Yeah, with
1,964.
yeah, it's just,
And the season before that, he also led the NFL with 1,681. And had, by the way, that season he had 16 touchdowns, and he didn't lead the league, so I don't know who had more touchdowns than him, but yeah, that was 2011. Yeah, and then 2012 he goes on to lead the NFL in catches with 122, and then had 1,964 yards, but only 5 touchdowns.
yeah, who knows? I think it'd be pretty easy to lob him the ball, but I don't know.
But at the same time, you're lobbing him the ball with 3 guys on him because nobody else on your team's any good.
Right.
True.
Which is probably why he was
running for your life.
Yeah, he
You're
was.
the
That's probably
quarterback.
why he was so beat up because there were so many guys around him. 2 guys could play the ball, and somebody could still hit him every time he jumped up for the ball.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else? Anybody else have anything to add on Calvin Johnson before we move on? No,
I'm good.
no. All right. Well, does anybody have any 4s left? Oh, Bob still has a 4 left. Who's your number 4, sir?
Joe Schmidt. I read about him on a page somewhere. He played in the 50s. He got drafted in 50. I'm blind. Can't read my numbers.
He's
there.
actually
53.
my number 3.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Joe
He's also
Schmidt's-
my number 3.
He's my
Oh,
number
alright.
2.
Oh, there you go.
How you spell it?
Is he the linebacker?
Yes.
CHMIDT.
All right.
Yep.
I did read about him a little bit. They did say he was a beast. But I think we're going to fall victim of not having stats again.
Yeah, he's he's my number 4, guys. I didn't say that earlier. I was still trying to spell his name.
Yeah, I don't think they recorded tackles back then.
Oh no.
No.
They did not.
They
Oh,
said he
when
was a tackling machine, though, from little clips or articles I've read.
Yeah, I read a couple things saying that he was by far the greatest linebacker in franchise history, or maybe the best defensive player in his franchise history.
Played like 12 seasons, had like 24 interceptions,
Mm-hmm.
10 Pro Bowls, 9
8
Consecutive
All-Pros.
Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
He's a 2-time champ.
Yeah,
Mhm.
2
Yeah.
53, 57.
He's on the all 50 team, all 50s
8-time
team.
first team All-Pro.
Damn.
He, what was it, 53 when they won. They had the second best scoring defense in the league.
He had one year. He had 8 fumble recoveries.
That's
is pretty
17
good.
for his career.
Yeah. He scored 3 touchdowns in his career.
Did he spend his whole career with Detroit?
Yes.
Yeah.
53 to 65. Became an assistant coach in 66, and then head coach from 67 to 72.
Oh, there we go.
I think what was it? His third year, he became the captain, I think.
He also
Some-
had. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, as I said, it just seemed like Detroit really liked him.
I was gonna say he also had 2 top 5 MVP finishes.
as a
Wait,
linebacker.
is he the one that won the MVP?
No, he's not
No.
an MVP, but he finished 4th one year and 5th another year.
I thought I read about a defender winning MVP for the Lions. I don't know.
Well, they had 2 corners that seemed to be in a lot of places I looked.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I can't remember their names though off the top of my head.
Lynn Barney's one of them, probably.
Yeah, and
Well, of course, Night Train
Night
Lane
Train
was
Lane,
there.
yeah.
But he was only there at the end, for the end of his career.
Yeah, his last 6 years he was with.
Yeah. Who was the middle team? It was the Rams, and then who in the middle?
Cardinals, I
I think it was the
Cardinals,
Cardinals.
yeah.
And they're in
Then-
Chicago.
Here's something crazy for you guys. So I looked up one of his MVP finishes, and Jim Brown won MVP this year, and then Y.A. Tittle and John Unitas, and then Joe Schmidt. But it's okay. All these stats, and Joe Schmidt's entire stat line is empty. Like they have no stats. It's just he was 4th in the MVP.
He was
Yeah.
good.
The guy that came in 5th this year was a left guard named Dwayne Putnam
For the Rams.
for the Rams. Yeah, who also has no stats, obviously.
Probably secretly Eli Putnam.
Probably his brother Jackson.
That big motherfucker.
You want to hear something crazy though? Jim Brown won MVP and didn't rush for 1,000 yards
Really?
Really?
and 942 yards,
Huh.
Well, that would have been like in a 12-game season, though, right?
12 game. Yeah.
So 900 yards in 12 games. That's pretty good, though. That's pretty good.
Yep. All right. Well, anybody else have anything to add about old Schmidt?
No.
So how many lists did he make? I'm sorry.
Made mine.
So everybody but Wade.
Oh wow.
All right.
Okay.
So nobody has a 4 left, correct?
Nope.
Does anybody have a 3 left?
I have a 3.
Wade has a 3.
I had put Dick LeBeau as my 3.
Oh, okay. All right.
I had him as an honorable mention.
So he's top 10 all time in interceptions and spent his entire career at Detroit. Obviously, some people know him now as a great defensive coordinator. He was the defensive mastermind behind all those Steeler teams in the early 2000s and early 2010s that won Super Bowls and stuff. But he's a Hall of Fame defensive back for the Detroit Lions and is like number 10 all time in interceptions in NFL history.
Yeah, he's been a coach in the NFL for 29 years.
I think he's like in his mid to late 70s and he's still coaching. But yeah, what is he? He has like 62, 63 interceptions, something like that.
62. Well, yeah, he was born in 1937.
Yeah, he's old.
Good
He's
Lord.
84.
He's 84?
He's 84 and getting ready to turn 85.
Damn.
He'll
I
turn
didn't,
85 in
I
September.
didn't give him credit for how old he was.
Well, this is the guy that Antonio Brown started screaming at on the sideline and had to be pulled away from because he was going to fight him.
What a shocker.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm going to fight an 80-year-old man. Like,
Why was he yelling at the defensive coordinator
Yeah,
who had
why?
nothing to do with him?
Because in a no tackling drill, one of the defensive players tackled him. And I guess Antonio Brown got up and was like yelling and screaming. Dick LeBeau told him to go back to the huddle. And he like got in Dick LeBeau's face and snapped out and had to get kicked out of practice, and like
The crazy part is Mike Tomlin must be a genius because he held on to that turd for like
And
a
Le'Veon
decade.
Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't really hear much about him until the last couple years. Like Tomlin must have kept that shit under wraps. And then he left Pittsburgh and no one could keep him for like 12 seconds. He was just screwing everything up.
Yeah, he leaves in the middle when they're playing the Jets.
Yeah. It just... His Raiders situation was an absolute mess,
He
too.
didn't play a game for him.
No, he
They
signed
didn't
that
play
contract.
They didn't play that one game with the Patriots.
Yeah,
They
one
got-
game, and then he got suspended or whatever for...
What was it my boss called that? It was a Make-A-Wish Foundation. So touchdown pass from Brady.
Yeah.
There you go.
They reunited, though.
He did
But-
catch a pass in the Super Bowl.
I think he had some good moments at the Buccaneers before that went sideways. But anyway, but yeah, I had Dick LeBeau. But I thought top 10 interceptions all time, Hall of Famer, played his entire career for the Lions. He's also still popular today through coaching. So.
he his rookie year played safety, and then his last year in the league he played safety. So he bookended all those corner years playing safety on either end. You don't see that very often. All right. So is that our last number 3?
I
I
think
think
so.
so, yeah.
All right. So who has a 2 left?
I do.
You do.
Yep. Bobby Lane.
I knew he was coming.
Same. He's my number 2 also.
Oh, Bobby.
Yeah. Say Bobby had 196 touchdowns, 26,000 yards, 6 Pro Bowls, 6 All Pros, 2 first team, 4 second, and 3 NFL titles.
52, 53, and 57. And he was the kicker from 56 to 57, I was reading. And led the league in field goal accuracy in 56.
These old players do it all.
Oh, yeah.
They did. They really did.
They need a kicker? Sure.
I can try.
I mean, offensive linemen were kickers, quarterbacks were kickers. I mean,
Some of these
whoever.
guys played 3 or 4 positions throughout their career. They'll be like left guard for a while, then they went to a receiver, then they went to DB, then they kicked for the last couple of years.
I was typing in Dick LeBeau to add him to our list and into Google, and the first thing that comes up is fight with Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
All right. So you got anything else to add about Bobby Lane?
Probably, I would guess, the winningest quarterback in Detroit history.
Yeah, that's probably
He's
accurate.
got multiple championships.
Yeah, so that's even though I love Matthew Stafford, that's why I put Bobby Lane ahead of him. Just because he did bring him 3 titles.
All right. Well, nobody's had a 1 yet. So I'm gonna guess that everybody in the room has Reggie Bush as number 1.
Not quite.
So old Barry Sanders, huh?
I'd say
Yes,
so.
sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
By far the greatest Lion of all time. Yes.
Good old Barry.
Well, the main reason I invited Bob to come on for the Lions episode is me and Bob are famous for getting drunk and spending hours talking about Barry Sanders.
A little bit.
We used to do that all the time. And again,
Like-
just
Can you imagine how his stats would have been if he'd played for the Cowboys and had that amazing
Yeah.
offensive
Oh, man.
line?
yeah, all that. Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
You flip flop
Him and
Emmett, and
Emmett fails.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Barry is off the charts.
Well,
He'd be making his first move in the second level instead of
In the
getting the ball and
backfield.
there's 5 guys in his face like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
That's the thing is like I don't even necessarily need to see Barry behind, arguably the greatest offensive line ever
Oh,
in
no, but
Dallas.
it's
Just an average offensive line.
yeah.
Someone that goes forward.
Yeah. Yes.
Not into his face when he's getting
Just
the ball.
so he can get the ball and actually take a step before
Yeah.
he's dodging somebody.
Like
Yeah.
you watch some of his highlights and like what he's able to make out of some of those god awful blocking plays is absolutely unreal.
Get a 20-yard gain, but he actually ran like 60, 70 yards
Back
side to
and
side
forth.
on the field.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Like he was nuts. He's my favorite running back of all time.
Mine too.
He's I honestly, I don't even. If you're just talking about like exciting to watch, is there another answer? You know what I mean? Like, just if we're just gonna watch highlight packages and watch great moves and shimmies and everything, is there somebody that even compares to Barry?
No. I
As
don't
far as
think
like
so.
agility and breaking
Oh,
ankles,
no.
no.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
was gonna
Not
say
even
saying.
Mike
close.
Allstott and Jerome Bettis are fun to watch run over people.
Plow through people. Yeah, like Earl Campbell and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Earl
Mhm.
Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, as far as just agility and breaking ankles, I feel like it has to be Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
You'll hear old people talk about like Gale Sayers doing crazy stuff, but I honestly don't. I don't know.
Gale Sayers was the earlier version of Barry, but
He just got hurt.
He got hurt so
We'll
early
probably talk
on
about that more next week.
He lost
Yeah.
a lot.
The thing is crazy about Barry is he made so many moves and was so shifty and so like always making moves. It seemed like, because like we said, there's 5 guys coming to the line as he's taking the ball, and he's gonna make 3 of them miss before he can get up and gain any yards. But you never. I didn't watch him every week, but he never seemed to like get caught making a move. Like, I'm making a move and just get leveled because another guy came and just depleted me, which happens all the time in football.
It happens to
Yeah.
just about everybody.
Yeah,
Someone will
It's like he
juke
was
and
3 steps ahead. He's already 3 guys ahead, knew what he was doing.
his acceleration from 0 to high speed had to be insane. Just insane. I don't know how fast he was, like running a 4.2 or whatever, but his acceleration had to be one of the greatest ever. Because like you can't make that spin move and then not get caught by a guy when there's 3 of them around you if you're not just accelerating so much faster than everybody else in the field.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he was. I mean, obviously he was fast. He was an all-time great running back, but I don't think he was like all-time
A
phenomenal
track
fast.
athlete fast.
Yeah,
No.
he was good enough, but it was his side-to-side agility and mobility
quickness.
and his yeah. It
And once
was,
he got going downhill,
He
like
ran a
in the open,
4.3 at the combine.
really.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oof.
That's all right.
You can watch videos of him getting caught from behind after making a bunch of moves on YouTube.
Well, he's probably
He's
tired.
probably tired.
The other guys are probably
Yeah.
running across to
Wow.
come get him. He's juking people out, and they catch him finally.
It's just like woof.
Yeah. A 4.3. So
It's faster than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, I would say Barry Sanders is probably the guy in the NFL that I've like Googled his highlight package more than anybody.
NFL.
fun to
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fun to watch. It really is.
Trying to think.
Well, and I think had he known that Emmett was going to pass Walter,
Mm-hmm.
he might have played a little longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't want to pass
Right.
Walter.
Yep.
He respected Peyton, and I think if he'd have known Emmett was going to go stick around long enough to do it, Barry might have stuck around a little longer and said,
He wouldn't have to
"No,
stick
I'm not
around.
giving
He,
it to you."
he could
Yeah,
have done it.
the difference is Emmett stuck around 5 years after he sucked to do it. Emmett retired in his prime, so he wouldn't do it.
Right.
Like you were talking about a guy that has a 10-year career.
Well, 2 years before he retired, he had 2,000 yards, I believe.
It was the second to last year he had 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
But his second, he had 1,500 yards the next year. It wasn't, and then retired.
Right.
So
10 years, 15,000 yards.
Yeah, that's
So
insane.
he's averaging 1,500 a season.
And he's one of like the 4 or 5 guys ever to finish their career with over 5 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Non-quarterback or
Yeah, yeah, I believe so. Like,
10 years, 10 Pro Bowls, 6 first-team All-Pro, 4 second-team All-Pro.
think of the running backs though at that era.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
running back.
Him and Emmett, I heard somewhere it was like either 7 or 8 years in a row. Either Barry or Emmett led the league in rushing for like a 7 or 8 year period.
well, like I said, he had a 10-year career, and 4 of those years he had led the NFL in rushing.
and what we got to think when him and Emmett are nearing the end of their prime, Terrell Davis is going off for 2,000 yards for his little short window of
Yeah,
greatness.
That is true.
Sean
Yeah.
Alexander and
That's a little bit later. That's a little
what
bit
is
later.
it? Does he
Well-
do it 05?
Oh, Alexander.
Marshall Falk's starting to dominate at the end of
Yeah.
their career.
Alexander and Tomlinson would have been a little bit later.
Yeah, but Marshall Falk is on the scene at the end of their
Yes.
primes,
Yep.
along with Terrell Davis, and Edgerrin James starts in the '90s for the Colts. I feel like we're forgetting one or two, but it was that era of running backs was.
Was Curtis Martin one of them?
Oh yes,
Well-
Curtis Martin, yes.
Well,
It's
Bettis
good.
would have
Yeah,
come,
Jerome
Bettis
Bettis.
would have come
Yeah,
onto the
Bettis.
scene during some of that. Yeah.
I think everybody forgets about Curtis Martin. To be honest, who's top 10 all time in
I
rushing
think
yards.
he's like 4th or 5th, I think.
I
maybe.
think so. Something like
Then
that.
yeah, the bus had already started like the Rams and more onto the Steelers. throughout part
Dylan
of that.
would have run during this time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Corey
yeah.
Dillon, yeah.
So yeah, this would have been a hell of a heyday.
Well, and
for-
it was still when running backs mattered.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and if you watch the Lions back then, I mean, we used to see them because obviously living in the Midwest, a lot of times they were on. And every year they'd come in with this new coach or something, and he'd say, "Oh, we're going to pass, we're going to pass, we're going to take the pressure off Barry," and all this. About halfway through the season, when they haven't won a game, and the coach's job's on the line, he's like, "Give the ball to Barry." And the rest of the season, Barry'd win them a bunch of games and get them to the playoffs, and they'd get killed. But you know,
You know who the general manager for the Lions was during that?
oh Lord.
Chuck Schmidt. I don't know who the guy is.
I thought it was gonna be like someone just like shocking us. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, no.
somebody-
No, I remember.
Sure, it wasn't Joe Schmidt.
No, it was not. I checked. I checked before I said it because I was like, wait, is this the same guy? No, it's not.
Because outside of what the one that tall guy they gave real big contract to during the middle of Barry's prime,
Herman
Mitchell.
Moore. Oh, Mitchell.
Was it
Oh,
Mitchell
yeah.
from the Dolphins?
Scott Mitchell.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
He had like one really big year, and then he kind of flopped after that. Did he ever play with a good quarterback besides him? But that one season anyway.
And at the very end, Charlie Batch was there. I'm not saying he was a great quarterback. I just mean like that's who it was. That's who
I
was
can't
there.
even
Okay.
remember who the quarterback for
Yeah.
the Lions was.
So I'm guessing no, because I mean, he carried him to the playoffs at least 3-4 times, I think.
He did. Yeah,
Barry
they
did.
had a few playoffs.
So
All
I
right.
mean, that's
I pulled up Scott Mitchell, and I'm looking at his Detroit stats.
I think he has like one crazy year, and then after that, I'm not sure.
In 1995, he threw for 4,300 yards and 32 touchdowns.
There's the crazy year, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the very next year, he throws for 2,900 and 17, but also 17 interceptions.
Yeah, everybody makes fun of him on like NFL Network all the time about how he's a one-hit wonder and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they paid him a bunch of money for back then because Dan Marino had torn his Achilles for the Dolphins, I believe, and Mitchell had came in for him and played good for, like, to finish off the season. And then obviously when Marino came back, Mitchell was this hot commodity that everyone thought was going to be the star. And then of course Detroit's like, oh, I want him. Threw a bunch of money at him, and they had that one great year, and then kapooey. Back to the Lions. So yeah.
Yeah, Mitchell was his quarterback during, the end part of his career when he had that 2,000-yard season and everything. That was who was his quarterback. All right, guys. Anybody else have anything to add on Barry before we try and narrow this down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have 6 guys, but I did get sidetracked at one point. I had to go back and add guys, so I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. So I'm gonna run through them real quick and let me know if I forgot somebody. I got Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson, Bobby Lane, Joe Schmidt, Dick LeBeau, and Barry Sanders. Did I miss anybody?
You got all mine.
Sounds about right.
That's it,
Got mine.
Okay. So we have 6 guys for 4 spots. So we actually only have to get rid of 2 guys, which is not too bad.
Well, we all agree on Barry.
We all got Barry.
We all agree on Calvin.
we all had
Oh,
Calvin.
Yeah, we all had
Right.
Calvin. Yeah.
So those two are in for sure.
Automatically. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joe Schmidt made 5 of the 6 lists.
Past couple weeks, I've been fucking this up.
So yeah, Ray, you just want to write it on the whiteboard there? Just write the guys we're keeping,
Yeah.
that everybody can see. So yeah, we can write down Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson, who are my 1 and 2. I don't know about everybody else. Those are my 1
Those are
and 2.
my 1 and 2.
1 and 3.
Yeah, they're about 1 and 3.
All right. So I'm going to delete them off my page so that we don't concentrate on them anymore. And Okay, so is there anybody else most of us had? Like Dick LeBeau was only you, right?
Yeah.
Joe Smith had everybody but Wade. Bobby Lane. How many people had Bobby Lane? You two.
There was,
And
we
then
all had
Matthew Stafford.
There was 4 of us had Stafford.
4 of us had Stafford.
Hmm.
Well, Wade, are you willing to give in on old Schmidt?
On Smith, being on the list?
Yeah, being on the list,
Oh,
yeah. Because
yeah,
you're the
that's
only
totally
list he
fine.
didn't make. So
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. So where does Schmidt
So we're between Stafford and Bobby Lane.
and Dick LeBeau?
I thought, we're not going to put LeBeau on.
Okay.
Cross
All
him
right.
off.
All right. So we have Bobby Lane and Matthew Stafford. So 2 quarterbacks, which is, I think, kind of fitting. One, played a really long time ago and has championships. And one is top 10 all time in passing, and
Yeah.
Probably the franchise.
holds all the records for the franchise, but never won anything.
No.
Truthfully, I'm okay either way because I really like Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, he's your quarterback now, you rascal.
I figured you guys would think I was a homer if I picked him.
You know Stafford at one point was looking for houses in Indy before he went to you all because he thought he was going to us,
Really?
and we ended up with fucking Carson Wentz. Get the hell out of here.
Those dumb Jaguars every time.
But
All right, so I didn't realize this. Bobby Lane only played 7.5 seasons in Detroit.
he went to Pittsburgh, didn't he?
Well, he started his career in Chicago, and then he went to New York, and then he was in Detroit for 7.5 seasons and was traded to Pittsburgh, and then played 4.5 seasons in Pittsburgh.
And that's where, what was it, the Bobby Lane curse or whatever came from when they traded him to Pittsburgh.
Here's, I mean, a lot of the stuff I looked up had Bobby Lane in the top 4, but my big struggle was he has the championships and much more accolades than Stafford, and I know it's back in the day, but it was his completion percentage was like 49% for Detroit.
It is.
And he had 24 more receptions and touchdowns.
Oh, no, it's way more than that.
No, just for Detroit. You have to look at
just for Detroit. Okay, I'll say.
I wasn't looking at his whole career.
His whole career, it's 243 interceptions to 196 touchdowns.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I was like, I just can't get myself to put him down.
Yeah. I was going to take Stafford even though.
I'm okay with Stafford, especially since, Stafford has been so loyal to the Lions.
He was very loyal.
Yeah. He stayed and stayed and stayed and took the beating.
He's right, man.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like I said, at one point he played with a broken bone in his back.
Yeah.
For the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
And was trying to get him, to the playoffs, or maybe it was a playoff game that he played in with that. I don't remember.
I don't know.
He also has a 5,000-yard season. He's one of 7 players to ever do that. Don't get me wrong. There is a lot of chucking the ball because your team sucks involved in having a 5,000 yard. Because Drew Brees also has a 5,000-yard season on a terrible fucking team, stuff like that. But the year he threw for 5,000 yards, they went 10-6.
Yeah.
So
He did take some average rosters and had a couple decent seasons in there.
he threw for 5,000 yards and 41 touchdowns.
Yeah. And that, what year was that?
2011.
So that would have been before some of the rule changes that are in the NFL today. Some of them would have started. Don't get me wrong; it's not like playing in the '70s or anything, but but like today's NFL, like right now, is much easier. Is by far the easiest era to pass in.
And he was getting the crap beat out of him because he was not a known quarterback then, so there was no roughing the passer like it is now.
Yeah.
That was definitely before the Brady knee rule.
The Manning rules the head. Brady's rules below the knee.
Yeah. Yeah, and then 2011, this was the team that he took to the playoffs and threw for 5,000 yards with. Javid Best was his running back, who ran for 390 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's good.
Wow.
Good shit.
Was that in a game or?
Is there no other running backs that did
I
anything?
mean, there's a couple other running backs, but none of them had more yards than him.
Seriously?
Yeah,
The leading rusher was 300
Yeah,
yards?
and the next guy's like 356. Next guy's 319.
Was it like Jock Bell or someone?
It's Kevin Smith and Maurice Morris.
Okay.
And then Matthew Stafford was 78 yards.
So as a team, did they rush for 1,000 yards? As a team.
Barely.
Yeah, they should have gotten there.
Barely.
Yeah, they would have gotten there. Calvin Johnson. Oh, that's passing. I was like, why does Calvin Johnson have no stats? It's because that's passing. What the hell? Oh, I got you now. Calvin Johnson caught 96 balls for 1,681 yards and 16 touchdowns.
Okay.
Nobody else on the team had more than. Oh, their tight end, who I actually know, Brandon Pettigrew. He had a
Oh.
few good years there. Had 777 yards and 5 touchdowns.
It's respectable.
And Nate Burleson, he's famously on TV now, had 757 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And then nobody else had more than 25 catches.
Hmm.
So, yes.
Sounds like he spread the ball out a lot.
Yeah, there's. There's 11 pass catchers on there between tight ends and receivers.
Were the
I mean,
running backs at least catching the damn ball?
let's see. Javid Best caught 27 passes. Maurice Morris 26 and Kevin Smith 22.
So the starting running back had 300 yards rushing and 27 pass catches.
He had
What a fucking guy.
287 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Just as many rushing yards.
Christian McCaffrey probably did that last year in 4 games.
Alvin Kamara probably did it in a game.
Yeah, like, Jesus. No wonder he had 5,000 yards passing. He's like, I'm not giving the ball to this guy. Are you shitting me?
Well, I mean, how many rushes did he have?
Javid Best, I mean, he averaged 4.6 yards per carry.
There's something off there. We're missing some part of the puzzle.
Best only played 6 games.
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
he only played 6 games.
That's true. He only played 6 games.
But then Martin played 16 games.
Maurice Morris played 16 games, had 80 rushes for 316 yards, and 26 catches for 230 yards. And a total of 2 touchdowns.
Oh, my goodness. Maybe they had like a badass kicker who was just scoring points left and right.
Hanson, yeah.
Might have been. Yeah.
It looks
on
like-
some of the top 10 lists that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jason Hansen.
Yeah.
Mm. Was this the
He probably had,
beginning
like,
of Adamakin Sue on the defensive end?
Let's look at defense.
They had a decent run where they had.
Well, Stephen Tulloch is their leading tackler, and he was there for quite a while. At middle linebacker, he was there for quite a while.
'Cause back in the day, they had Adamakin Sue and Cliff Averill, I
Yep.
believe, started
Yep.
in Detroit.
Cliff Averill had 11 sacks this season, and 29 tackles, or 36 tackles. Sorry, Stephen Tulloch had 111, and Dominican Sue had 4 sacks and 36 tackles.
But he's there, so it's the
Yes.
start of the Sue era. Before he's stomping on
50
people.
Yeah,
personal
stomp.
fouls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stomping on
Okay.
people's chests and faces and whatever
Yeah,
else.
but and then Kyle Vandenbosch.
I remember him a little
Yeah,
bit.
he had 8 sacks that season.
Did they used to have a decent defensive back? I can't remember if it was before that period or during that period.
Was it Chris Houston?
I was thinking of, like, what's his name?
Was there a Trufant that played there?
And Trufont's
was-
Atlanta, right?
There's more than one.
Yeah,
There's,
there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
I was thinking of
You're all right. There is a DB.
Dre Bly.
Trey Bly, but was
Started
that-
with the Rams.
Yeah.
And then went, he might have ended up in Detroit.
I could have sworn I remember him playing for Detroit. I couldn't tell you what year or what anything like that, but
Well, I know he's not with them anymore, but Darius Slay was there for a while.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in Philly
Yeah,
now.
he's with the Eagles now, but he was there for a
All
while.
right, let's look at the interceptions here so I can find some DBs.
Well, while Alex is looking that up, I do want to mention one other guy that I thought about was Alex Karras,
Mm-hmm.
great defensive lineman for the Lions. 4 Pro Bowls, 3 first-team All-Pros, 5 second-team. Of course, he's in the Hall of Fame. 100 sacks, 4 interceptions, 18 forced fumbles. He did have a somewhat shortened career, and he also took a year off in the middle for gambling.
Is that the one that played Mongo on?
Yes,
Blazing
Mongo on
Saddles?
Blazing Saddle.
Mongo.
I thought I read that he wasn't in the Hall of Fame,
No, I think
or did he finally?
I think they finally let him in.
Okay, this could have been an older article.
I think they kept him out for a while because of the gambling thing.
yeah.
But I think they finally let him
Mongo.
in.
Yeah,
First-
took a year off for gambling.
The first article I read was it said Alex Karras might not have been the greatest Detroit Lion ever, but he's probably the funniest and most popular or something like that, or the favorite Lion of
they
all
loved
time.
him. Yeah,
or
Detroit
something like that.
absolutely loved him.
What they call him, the Mad Duck?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
That's what I looked up.
Yeah.
They call him the
We'll
Mad
See if
Duck.
he's got this.
Yeah, look up the Mad Duck, Drew. I'm very intrigued by this
I'm
nickname.
just gonna Google the Mad Duck and see what happens.
So are we? Since we've been talking about him for 10 minutes now, are we going with Stafford?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh shoot, the Mad Duck's a restaurant.
I was gonna put him on the list, but I'm like, man, that's 3 players from my era. Is that fair?
I know. I thought about it too when I put those guys on there. I was like, all 3 of these guys played real recently.
Yeah.
But some of these franchises are just odd.
Yeah.
They just have odd histories.
Oh, who was another one? Was there war number 20 and before Barry? Was it Billy Sims?
Ernie?
Oh, Billy Sims.
Was it Ernie or Billy?
I
Billy.
can't remember.
Billy Sims, running back
okay.
from Oklahoma.
He's
Yeah.
right. Alex Karras'
Yeah,
nickname
Billy
is the Mad
Sims is a
Duck.
good
He
guy.
comes up
Yeah.
on Google.
That's awesome. That's like the coolest nickname of all time.
The Mad Duck.
Was Sims the one that got hurt and like ruined his career?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because coming out of Oklahoma, he was a stud.
What-
And,
Well, who played with Barry at Oklahoma? Didn't it? Was it him? When like they had like
Barry was
Barry at Oklahoma State.
Barry was
That's
Oklahoma
right.
State.
Oklahoma
But you're right.
State,
They
yeah,
had like 3 years in a row.
They had like
Was it
awesome running backs.
was Thurman Thomas from Oklahoma State?
Ooh, that might
That went
be.
to the Bills.
Might have been.
So
And then
he's-
you had Barry was from there.
And then there was the other one.
But you're right. I think there was a third one.
Because they were all on the roster at the same time. I was like, what? They were
Yeah.
pretty close.
I mean,
Yeah.
Barry and Thurman Thomas alone are 2 of the greatest running backs of all time. Both first ballot Hall of Famers, I think.
Barry,
I know they're both in the
it's
Hall of
Barry,
Fame.
Thurman,
Barry, Thurman Thomas, Tatum Bell,
Terry Miller.
Terry Miller, Kendall Hunter, Justice Hill. Yeah, I don't know the rest of these guys, but
I thought there was another one.
I thought there was
might-
another one like right after that, but maybe not.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think Barry had to play behind Thurman for a year or two at
Really?
Oak State before.
Yeah.
hey, Thurman had a great career too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Thurman played from 84 to 87, then Barry played from 86 to 88.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think he has an MVP like Barry, but I mean, he went to what 4 Super Bowls, and
Yeah.
is
4 Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Was it Gerald Hudson? He played right after Barry at Oak
Yeah.
State.
I don't know. There's just a
I
bunch
don't
of
know.
guys in here I don't know. The only other name I know is Chubba Hubbard, just because that name
Oh.
stands out from the
Recently,
last few
yeah.
years.
Yeah. It's kind of fun to say, too.
Indeed. All right, so our final 4 for the Detroit Lions, I don't think we have any too big surprises here, is Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Joe Schmidt, and Matthew Stafford. So that is my 4, just in a slightly different order.
Yep, those are my 4, different order.
I got 3 of.
Yeah, I got 3.
I got 3.
Ray, how many did you get?
Those are all 4, I think.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining the Detroit Lions portion of this episode. And now we'll go to trivia.
I thought we were going to skip it for a second.
I know.
I was like, is the end of the
I
episode?
started off like I did the end of the episode. Yeah, that was my bad. All right. Bob, would you like to participate in trivia tonight?
How's this work?
Well, get you a board over there.
Oh, okay.
We everybody asks the question. You don't have to ask one if you don't want to. And we all just write our answers on the board and then reveal our answers when the questioner is ready. And so
Need a marker?
Yeah, I need an eraser.
I
and a
believe
marker.
I need a marker.
Thank you.
Need a marker? Here.
Thank you.
Just tossing markers around the room.
That's right. Thanks for filling that silence, Drew.
I'd say something.
Okay.
All right, Drew, you ready, buddy?
Yeah. What team had the least amount of rushing yards in a season?
I'm going to go with the Lions in 2011.
We just have to name the franchise?
Yep. Okay.
Oh, we want the leading rusher, Wade.
What is his name?
It was
Oh,
Water
man.
Boy with 10
Banks?
yards.
That was his name?
All right, I got an answer.
I wrote a team down.
I wrote one down.
Yep, I'm good.
Old Bob. You got an answer for us?
Sure.
All right. I put the Saints.
I also put the Saints.
Okay.
I said the Rams.
I
Okay.
said the Lions just because.
Said Browns.
The San Diego Chargers in 2000. They had 1,000 rushing yards.
Wouldn't LT have been there in 2000?
Maybe. I don't know.
Or was he hurt?
Yeah, that could be
Yeah.
too.
Maybe he didn't play as much as a rookie. Maybe he platooned as a rookie or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I was
wouldn't have
thinking
thought
some of those old Rams teams back in the 50s, all they did was sling the ball.
I was thinking of Archie Manning's crappy Saints teams, and I was like, oh, they were god-awful.
Yeah, but Archie could run.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah. Unlike Peyton and Eli, Archie could actually
They
run.
didn't get
I
that
went-
I went with the Saints because I knew they were the Aints for a while and they were just garbage.
Yeah.
But I also thought Breeze had like back-to-back 5,000-yard seasons where their team was just terrible. I was like, well, maybe it was kind of like the Stafford seasons where nobody rushed for anything.
Right.
I think they were okay because they would have Reggie as their like quick
Scat back.
scat back, and they had that Pierre Thomas.
Yeah, yeah.
Pierre Thomas was pretty decent.
All right, who would like to go next?
I'm not ready yet, so if someone else wants to
No,
go.
me either.
I can go.
All right, Uncle Doug.
All right. Famously, the Lions host the Thanksgiving Day game, and I believe they were the first ones to do that. What year?
It was the first.
First Thanksgiving Day game for the Lions.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Uncle Doug. I have no idea. I'm just going to guess a year.
I believe I looked this up.
All right, I got to guess.
I got to guess. So you pretty confident in your answer there, Wade?
I got it down to 2 years. It's a 50-50 shot. So I was looking at stuff earlier, and I think I got it. I don't know.
Is that everybody?
Yeah.
I know what you
All
guys
right.
got.
I said 67.
I said 37.
I said 82.
I know it's either 34 or 35. I put 34.
It is 34. Go away.
Wow.
Well, there's Wade with the lead.
Yeah. On my question, no less.
That's true.
Man.
All right, who would like to go next?
I'll ask mine.
Oh, this ought to be good. The way you're
There we
laughing
go.
at us already.
I hope I guess it right.
Yeah, you'll think that. Who was the first player to be drafted in the NFL draft in 1936?
I might actually know this.
Get out of here.
I think I know. Oh, what's his name? Crap. I know it. I know this just because of the paper I wrote this year in LA class.
I was going to say, was it the Bears?
No. He went to college. Yeah.
Uncle Doug knows it now.
No, I don't, but I have a guess at least.
Oh, I'm going to be so mad at myself.
All right, I got a guess.
Now I've got to go to Highland and check up on your language homework too now over these trivia questions.
I got to guess.
Yeah, I know some fun facts about this guy. Yep, I think I got this.
Drew is killing me on this trivia.
I'm telling you, Ray. Who would have thought LA class would get me a trivia question? Hopefully.
Has everybody got an answer?
I wrote something down.
Yeah, I got one.
All right, I said Smith.
But Y Tittle or whatever his name is.
So John David Crow.
I said Jay Bearwester. I can't remember his last name, but it's
I'll give it to you, Drew. It's Jay Burwanger.
Yep, he went to yep. He won the first ever Heisman. His wife used it as a doorstop.
Nice.
He went to the University of Chicago. He used to be in the Big Ten for a while.
My God.
Ray was so fucking confident. when he asked this question.
Drew's gotten him like 3 times.
Yeah.
Since football started.
Well, he's only answered 4 questions, right? So
I bet more than you. I bet almost all of them are right because he got.
Yeah.
You've gotten Ray like 3
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
I'm like
This one is purely because of my paper. And when he said 36, I said, oh, I know who it is. 'Cause I knew he was the first Heisman winner, the first pick in the draft ever.
this is horseshit.
So, me and Alberta and Bob left.
Yep.
Okay, I finally got one. Unless you want to go.
No, go for it.
Okay. Lost track of it. Okay. What year was it when the Lions won their first NFL championship?
Crap.
Say that one more time.
What year did the Lions win their first NFL championship?
I wrote something down.
I got to guess.
I got to guess.
Yeah.
Everybody sounds so confident.
Yeah.
You got one, Bob?
One.
All right. I put 53.
Said 48.
51.
I said 56.
58.
It's 1935.
Oh.
35. Wow.
I didn't know they got one that early.
I think I read that, but
They beat the New York Giants.
Wow. We all did so well.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, are you asking a question or no?
sure.
All right,
This
go
one
for
seems
it.
fun. Which player led the Lions in receptions in the 2005 season?
Can't think of a receiver that played
2005?
for the Lions in 2005.
Okay. I got someone down.
This is
Oh, I haven't fact checked this or anything.
The internet told you, right?
The
internet told you. It never
It's gotta be
lies.
true.
During the Bengals episode, I asked a question about a guy about a number of sacks, and the page I pulled up told me he had 47 and a half, and then our Bengals guest said, no, he has like 88. So I had to ask another question.
Yeah.
Sometimes websites will get you.
Oh, man, this sucks.
2005, huh?
All right, I got to guess. I think it's wrong, but.
He's so flustered, Alex. You're growling in your mic.
I am flustered, man.
I have no idea because this kills me. Because I can't think of anybody.
All right. I hope I'm not pissed after this. I got an answer. Is that everybody?
Yeah.
I put Johnson.
Yes.
I put Roy Williams.
I said Perryman.
I don't know. I couldn't think of one.
Yeah, I didn't put anything. I couldn't think of a receiver.
Marcus Pollard.
Oh, the
Really?
Colts tied in.
46 receptions for 516 yards.
I was sitting here going, Herman Moore is retired. Calvin Johnson's not ready, not there yet. And I'm going, who the hell was there between them?
Yeah.
Remember that one guy drafted a bunch of first-round wide receivers that were all failures, and it was like Roy Williams was one. There was like a Rodgers guy in there. There was
Yeah. Rodgers at what, USC?
there was like 3 of them, at least 3, maybe
Yeah.
more, and they all were busts.
Yeah, it was first round pick for like 3 or 4 straight years.
I was like, maybe Roy Williams got a decent one in there.
Well, Roy Williams had some good years. He just left and had most of them in Dallas.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that just leaves me, right? So I will not be getting any correct answers today. All right. What famous recording artist tried out for the Detroit Lions? Like, was given an on-field tryout for the Detroit Lions.
Like recently, or like just an artist.
All right, I'll narrow it down for you. What famous recording artist from Detroit got an on-field tryout for the Detroit Lions?
I gotta try and think of an artist from Detroit. I gotta guess.
I'll give you this too, just so you know. He was after his tryout, he was invited to camp, but he was eventually cut.
Wow.
From Detroit. I'm drawing blanks right now. I don't know. I gotta write something down.
Well, he let some of the Lions sing backup vocals on his next hit after he was cut.
No, these are helping.
No,
But they're interesting, are they not?
they are. I gotta
interesting.
guess.
Is that everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right, what you guys got?
Let's put Eminem.
I put Eminem.
I said Snoop Dogg.
I said
Snoop
Kid
Dogg.
Rock. Kid Rock.
I had no idea.
No, it's Marvin Gaye.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
Cool.
Damn it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually put on a bunch of weight and everything. Yeah, and then he let some Lions sing backup on his next hit in 1971. Yep. So there was actually some points given out this week, unlike last week. Wade now leads with 8 points. Uncle Doug is now in second with 7. Drew in third with 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex and Ray pull up the end with 2. So that includes our very sad football trivia totals for now. And thanks for tuning in to our Detroit Lions episode. And please tune in next week for our Chicago Bears episode, where Drew will cry.
I ain't gonna cry.
Yeah, because I'm putting Aaron Rodgers on my list.
He's not going on your list. He's done nothing for us besides break hearts over and over. No, Ray, don't show me your paper.
Anyway, and thanks for tuning in to Sports the NEMO Way.